Once there were two beautiful lands and two proud peoples separated by great distance and many differences. This is the story of how a wonderful friendship has blossomed between them. One land is Yamanashi, which is known for abundant nature and also as a major production area of delicious fruits, surrounded by steep mountains. The other land is Iowa, which is known as a major production area of corn, located in the middle of the United States, having two big rivers at its east and west. In 1960, the relationship became the first sister-state prefecture bond between the United States and Japan. The ambassadors between those states were 35 hogs. Before dawn on the morning of August 14th, 1959, the 7th typhoon hit Yamanashi with great suddenness. In 1959, Yamanashi was severely damaged by the two typhoons. Though more than 50 years have passed since then, these typhoons are still remembered today as terrible incidents which occurred in Yamanashi. Richard Thomas, an Iowan who had served with the U.S. military in Japan, heard of the devastation and sympathized. He wanted to do something to help disaster-affected Yamanashi. Why don't we send them Iowan hogs? Richard called on the farmers from around the state, and they donated 35 hogs. That is how the Iowa Hog Lift started. Early in the morning of January 20th, 35 hogs, goodwill presents for Yamanashi's recovery, arrived at Haneda Airport after traveling far across the sea from Iowa. They are about to be handed over. Now we can see their first lively appearance on the pier before boarding a large truck. After being quarantined in Yokohama for 2 weeks, the hogs are going to be sent to Yamanashi. Early in the morning of February 2nd, the 35 hogs cheerfully showed themselves on the freight train platform of Kofu Station, where people had been waiting to welcome them. 35 hogs and 1,500 tons of corn to feed them traveled far across the sea from Iowa to Yamanashi. After releasing pigeons symbolizing peace and goodwill, the memorable event was closed.
その頃の飛行機は今のように早くはなかったので
From Des Moines, it took 3 days to fly to Japan because airplanes didn't travel as fast in those days. During the trip, those hogs must have seen more of the world than probably any pigs in Iowa's history.
世界のより多くのものを見ることができたでしょう。山梨に着いたとき、この35匹の豚が
Imagine how surprised they must have been when they arrived in Yamanashi. Instead of rolling fields of corn and soybeans, they saw tall mountains.
高い山々を見たのです。
On April 29th, the governor of Yamanashi arrived at Des Moines Airport by the special airline which Iowa Governor Arby sent for him. In the following year, 1961, Governor of Yamanashi, Hisashi Amano, visited Iowa. He thanked the Iowans for their gift. In 1962, Yamanashi sent Iowa the Bell of Peace and Friendship as a gift to mark their new friendship. You can still see the huge bronze bell in the bell house at the Iowa State Capitol grounds. Since then, decades have passed and people in Yamanashi and Iowa have been cultivating a grassroots friendship. Through educational, cultural, artistic, and sports exchanges, the relationship between the two regions deepened. In 1993, Iowa suffered from a devastating flood. Many people were driven from their homes, and many crops were destroyed. The people of Yamanashi sent relief aid to flood victims in Iowa. They had not forgotten the help Iowans had sent them after the typhoon disasters. Sweet Corn and Sushi, The Story of Iowa and Yamanashi, is a children's book written by Iowan author Lori Erickson about this half-century-long friendship. The book illustrated the deep relationship between Yamanashi and Iowa and has touched readers everywhere. In 2004, Iowa First Lady Christy Vilsack, now the wife of United States Secretary of Agriculture, chose the book as one of her Iowa stories for the state's literary project. This book was also studied by our friends at Iowa elementary schools to learn about what kind of place Yamanashi is. That is why the book was written in Japanese and English.
Once there were two beautiful lands and
4 million elementary school students in Iowa heard the story through the project, and many people in both Iowa and Yamanashi now know about the deep relationship and the strong bond between them. What happened afterwards to those hogs that were sent from Iowa? The Yamanashi Prefectural Livestock Experiment Station, the destination of those original 35 hogs, still breeds their offspring today. The kinds of hogs sent from Iowa were Landrace, Hampshire, and Minnesota too, and they were new to Japan. Before that time, Japanese farmers gave food scraps or something similar to livestock. quickly growing Iowan hogs eating corn surprised the farmers and had a huge impact not only on the farmers in Yamanashi, but also on the whole livestock industry of Japan. The Yamanashi Prefectural Livestock Experiment Station spent years trying to breed original hogs from Iowan hogs. Finally, they made a Yamanashi brand called Fujizakura pork. In 2005, they imported 36 Iowan hogs of 3 breeds, which are said to grow well, and since then have been striving to create even higher quality ones. With strong ties between both states, Yamanashi and Iowa have had various exchanges every year.
And I had the opportunity to lead a delegation to Yamanashi.
There are exchange students, overseas workers, and even international marriages between the two regions.
But it wasn't a flower.
In 2010, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of sister relations, a recipe contest using Fujizakura pork and ingredients from Iowa was held. In English, there is an expression that says, "when pigs fly," meaning that it's very unlikely that something will happen. But it did happen for them. 2 states completely different and far away from each other deepened their relationship by caring for each other. In 1959, a single silken strand joined the 2 lands, the loving concern of a single man. Today, the 2 lands are linked by a beautifully varied ribbon of friendship that unites the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of the people who were once at war.
その子供、孫、ひ孫たちへと受け継がれながら